Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And as always, we'll start with EVE Online, and it has been, I would say, a little bit less than average EVE Online. It's actually been a very busy week for me at my real life work, and as a result I played a little bit less than average, but I feel like I still got everything done, which I think is very nice. And I think the Triglavian content is what's enabled me to find things to do when I only feel like I can spend maybe half an hour in the game or something like that. For exploration, you can do small rounds of half an hour, but the chance that you find something becomes very small, and as a result I sometimes just skip that. So now on a couple of evenings I did do exploration, jump in my Ishtar, plan a bigger route, explore there, and I feel like with all of the Triglavian activity at the moment there is a bit less competition for exploration at the moment, which is great, of course, because the earnings there have now basically normalized, considering the earnings of the Triglavian content has dropped off substantially. And I was very lucky on one of my exploration rounds. In the course of 3 systems I also found 3 great combat sizes, 3 out of 10 and 2 4 out of 10s. That was actually pretty amazing, and that's the reason why I feel like there's a bit less competition out there for exploration at the moment. And when I feel like I have less time to spend an hour to 2 hours exploring in EVE Online, that's when I jump in either my Praxis to run a couple conduits, or I jump in a battle cruiser and I go hunt for some Triglavian scouts. Now the earnings there have gone down substantially because lots of people are running that content, but considering how low barrier that content is, I think it makes sense. Basically the conduits have gone down in value and in earnings, bringing them in line with what you would expect for the hardest anomaly you can find in Isaac, for instance. So I think it's not out of line that it is a little bit less ISK per hour when you're running that activity. For me, for instance, I jump in my Praxis, I go to Chunka, I get into a conduit, and I can get started and I can chain as many of those as I want. And it's the very same thing with the Triglavian scouts. Just find the first one, and then usually you end up finishing one of these patrols and the next one shows up already, and you can keep going like that. So earnings is a little bit less, but it's so convenient if you want to quickly run a little bit of EVE Online that it's actually perfect for that. Next to that, I also of course kept up with my more passive activities in EVE Online. The blueprint copy business is something that I do once a week, and it is still selling very well. Or BPCs selling for a nice price, and then the structure ones, well, a little bit of pressure to be seen there, but it's still very reasonable as well. And after that we have PI. This is probably a special time for PI because I was expecting a big slump through the summer, but I think that the skilling spree has basically kept demand up as well, and as a result right now there is this slump is actually materializing here in September. And so stuff that I'm producing is so low in price that I'm not bringing it to the market right now. I'm just going to pile everything up in one big pile of PI and wait for better times. That's when I'll bring it to the market and try to sell it at a better price than right now. It's maybe a little bit depressing, of course, because you tend to have a decent amount of ISK every month from PI, but right now I think will be like 20-25% less than what you would normally get for some of them. Some of them are definitely at 1-year lows as well, so I have patience. I'm actually going to wait for better times in PI before I bring mine to the market. And well, that was my week in EVE Online. I am looking forward to what comes next for the game, of course. CCP has already, I think, made a forum post on what they're planning for October. Some more improvements, I think, for newer players. There's definitely a heavy focus on that right now, and well, the Chaos era, who knows what that will still bring. There was one tweet that asked the question if players indeed were feeling a little bit of relief right now with the blackout ending, but that's also something that can be read as there's still more to come. So yeah, we'll see how the game develops in the upcoming weeks and months as well. Hopefully CCP can come out with some cool stuff to do. And this brings me to the next game that I played last week. It's actually a little bit of Hearthstone. I think it was an email from Blizzard that notified me that there was a new solo adventure that was coming out, and I decided to take a look at that. Since it was this busy at work for me, I felt like that was something that I could still do without having to be super highly focused, right? Solo friendly stuff to do in Hearthstone. You can take your time, you can just try to have a little bit of fun, and honestly, these solo adventures, I do enjoy them myself. So we got like a free teaser which is the first chapter of the Tombs of Terror, I think they're called. Pretty interesting. It's got some novel concepts, definitely some new really powerful like treasures, passives that you can get as you play through that content. And then the final boss is something that I had not seen before, where it has like 300 HP, but every time you fight it, HP goes down. It starts at that new starting point the next time that you actually encounter him, so you can keep working in order to defeat the dungeon. A couple of powers that I've found were like really powerful. There is one that whenever you play an odd mana cost card, it reduces the cost of all the cards in your hand by 1. That's something that was super powerful. That's definitely helped me coast through all the bosses very quickly. And then another one that was really powerful, let me think for just a moment. Oh, there was one wherever I played a spell, it would just grab a minion from my deck and put it on the field. That was amazingly powerful as well. Of course, focus on big minions, focus on small spells, and you could sometimes do some pretty crazy stuff with that as well. I have not beaten that big Murloc boss at the end from 300 to 0 in a single playthrough. I think I've done like 6 or 7 of those dungeon runs of the solo adventure so far, and I think it's a lot of fun. Honestly, it has that replayability because of all of the weird combinations that you can try to do, and it is monetized, of course, but I feel like it's actually pretty fairly monetized because you can also earn yourself 700 gold in game and buy the chapter that way, the next chapter that way. It's either that or you buy the chapters individually, or you can buy the whole adventure for like $15 or euros or something like that. So I honestly feel like it is fairly priced if you enjoy that content enough. And for the free-to-play aspect of it for Hearthstone, honestly, it's pretty amazing what you the value that you get out of that. I definitely have had quite a few hours of fun, in fact, playing Hearthstone in that new solo adventure, just exploring it a little bit, trying some fun combinations, trying to find something that's really overpowered and then build your deck towards that. And on a couple of occasions I felt like I had some really cool stuff to do every time. So yeah, it's honestly pretty cool to see that Blizzard is still developing that and that they are not going completely crazy on the monetization. Considering that we get that first chapter for free, honestly, that is absolutely very, very generous and pretty cool stuff to do for people that want to enjoy Hearthstone just from time to time, to take a look at it and then have a free-to-play experience that they can just enjoy solo whenever they want, however they want, at their own pace. Pretty cool, and yeah, I absolutely enjoyed that so far. It really depends a little bit if I actually want to buy the whole chapter, the whole adventure. A part of me actually wants to do that, but I'm also waiting for the DLC of X4, and there's other stuff that I want to do, so I'm just not sure if more Hearthstone is on the menu right now. But I feel like this was very, very fair and very, very fun to play so far in Hearthstone, the new solo adventure, the Tombs of Terror. And that was my last week in games. That's all I managed to do. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.